Is it gonna like record over it, or is it just gonna like record? Okay, so it's just gonna record differently. Okay, let me see. Looking after my boys, are you gonna look after my boys? Give me a sec. Let me scroll up. Okay, a bit slower this time. I think I was 16 at the time. The world is a big place. Art was it's smaller then. The inverse is of course possible. They say the universe keeps expanding and the multiverses. Really, I don't know. My mind was in fragments then. Is now. Only the significance seems important and most, if not everything, was meaningless. One can categorize it as teenage angst. I think that is what they call the existential crisis that happens in the springtime of life. When one becomes aware of too much, consciousness starts to rule every thought and theory. Rebellion without a cause, really, or whatever. Still, all my actions were null and void. Inertia ruled my body, a victim of sloth and the drugs. Yeah, the drugs. At 16, yeah, that must have been the age my sweet 16 years. So much is really wiped away underneath the fog of those opiates. I was only starting out then, mostly pills. The ganja was cool too. I will do that on Fridays when watching movies or lost in some 1960s record. Have you ever seen Blade Runner or Dog Day Afternoon? I recommend those classics. Friday, 1944 with Chris Tucker and Ice Cube is also a good smoke along too, and Reefer Madness from the 30s, ironically. There are a lot of good movies if you're willing to sit through the bad ones, or worse, those pretentious mono-sex from the director's regurgitation of his life experiences or taste no one else has, and the critics just love to seem smart, but that's whatever. That's enough of that, Rumble. Me, I'm an islander. I won't tell you from where to see more mysterious, and plus, if you knew where I was from, you wouldn't listen any further. Can you believe such discrimination in the 21st century? What did that angry Jewish guy say about freedom and no opportunity and that it was a deal with the devil? A couple black guys said that too, but I won't mention them for whatever reason. Anyways, back then I think I suffered from a vitamin D deficiency. My skin was pale and my bones cracked brittle like sticks. I was also irritable, but maybe that was just a constant calm down machine. You know, being high all the time is not recommended, but the crashes are so terrible that the fear grips you and you would rather be numb to the panic and anxiety. It's like a man digging a grave for himself. He has gotten so far down that he can't see the surface anymore, so he just keeps digging, exhausted by his own morbid exercise, but what else can he do? I realized I was starting to have a problem. Not that I didn't notice before, but the blob was so encroaching it could no longer be ignored. I tried detoxing, rehab, a couple times, but man, the shakes were so bad and the cravings, and I was still smoking, which didn't help. Sometimes a week, another time a month, and I will fall into that hole again. The drunk crows seriously were circling above, their black bodies lurid spirits in that azure sky so pure, and the ferocity of that distant star. Looking up every once in a while again, while inebriated, made little difference. Sobriety made you stare into the blank face of the sun, searing, stripped and strapped to a chair, matchsticks under your eyes, but let me talk about one I really want to talk about. Words are so hard sometimes. Stubborn rebels that refuse to bend to your will. One has to be a master, I suppose, but it is against masters slaves rebel the most.